would like to welcome Melissa Mahavar-Snow from Natural Resources Wales, who's going to talk to us about another flood risk management scheme. So Melissa, would you like to share your screen? You also need to share your video.
Okay. Emma, it's saying I can't share my video because you've locked it.
Oh, I haven't done anything to your video. Gotta love when it does this. There we go. See if that helps. There you go. Didn't do anything, but never mind. The joys of Zoom. Okie dokie. Do you want to try and stay on until your screen?
Is that okay?
That's coming up. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, great. So thanks so much for asking me to speak today. I will be talking about the multi-million-pound flood risk project that's just been completed in Newport. So it's opposite side of the estuary to Robbins, Bristol. So I'll also be talking about how the project has worked in the spirit of the Wellbeing and Future Generations Act. That's something I'm really passionate about. So the scheme is located in Newport, adjacent to the River Usk, between the London to Cardiff railway line and the M4 in the north. It follows the bank of the Crindau Pill here, about 2.6 kilometres long. Shaftesbury Ward is a socially vulnerable area. It's mostly residential, light industry, and includes a primary school and a community centre. The community is deprived and parts of it are very run down. It was common to see drug dealers and users in dark secluded areas. Fly tipping is common, crime often occurs. Even during construction phase, the corner shop was held up by an armed robber. The community have been waiting for over 20 years for the scheme. Originally, a large regeneration scheme called Crindau Gateway was proposed for the area, which included a flood scheme, but that fell through. The image here on the left shows a previous risk of flooding, with the average flood depth greater than 600 mil. The image on the right shows the solution of mixture of reinforced concrete walls, sheet piling and earth embankments. The scheme protects 660 properties from a 1 in 200 year event. The design also allows for climate change and can be topped up in the future. The cost is about 14 million, with the total benefits are about 85 million. This is a photo of the Crindau Pill. It looks small and insufficient, right? Well, this is a photo further take upstream. The image on the left at low tide and the image on the right at high tide. Now, just imagine adding a storm surge into the mix. The area flooded in 1981, causing damage to over 500 homes and businesses. In 2014, minor flooding occurred, but the event was just inches away from causing far more extensive flooding. The Wellbeing and Future Generations Act is about improving social, economic, environmental and cultural well-being of Wales. This will help us to create a Wales that we all want to live in now and in the future. To make sure we are all working towards the same vision, the Act puts in place 7 wellbeing goals: a prosperous Wales, a resilient Wales, a healthier Wales, a more equal Wales, a Wales of cohesive communities, a Wales of vibrant culture and thriving Welsh language, and a global responsible Wales. The remaining slides demonstrate how this project has used the spirit of the Act and contributes towards some of the goals. I've highlighted these in the top left circle, so keep an eye out. I'm going to go through the slides. So in the appraisal stage of the project, we had several meetings with the community, Newport City Council. We also met with the fire brigade, the local police, the primary school and many other stakeholders to understand the community priorities. Our vision was to bring as many benefits to the community as possible within this project. So the main objective, of course, was to reduce the flood risk to the community. The photo here shows the sheet piling, the embankment through the park, and the reinforced walls with the stone cladding. The scheme allows for 50 years of climate change and can be topped up in the future. By constructing the defence, we are contributing to the prosperous Wales, resilient Wales, a global responsible Wales. The images here, the top left photo shows the existing view along Pugsley Street, and to the right it shows our outline design option, and at the bottom it shows what was actually constructed, the reinforced concrete wall with stone cladding. It's hard to see here, but behind the wall, the allotments are now fully secure. This image shows community area. This is the old horrible building that was here, and it was derelict and it was an eyesore. The building was demolished and knocked down to make space for our flood scheme. So we built the scheme here, and even that in itself was an improvement. But our vision was greater than that. We wanted to create a amenity area for the community to enjoy. Lots of residents walk through this area to get to the shops and the local primary school. So really proud of this area, and it includes low maintenance shrubs such as lavender, periwinkles, ladies' mantle and grasses, raised area for the kids to run up and down in, block stones to sit on or climb on, a children's mini fitness trail, the colourful resin bound lines which kids have to run and jump along, as demonstrated here by my son and a colleague's son. This feature really lifts up the area. The top photo here shows Shaftesbury Park before our construction. To the right, there's a very small entrance between the trees and a small informal grass footpath was made, basically. Our vision was to open up this entrance and create a formal footpath cycleway to join the cycleway along the River Usk. The residents then would be able to walk all the way through the park on the tarmac path, making it easier with parents who have pushchairs to get to the children's playground. In order to achieve this, we had agreement from the council to demolish the unused toilet block. This was closed due to antisocial behaviour. Drug dealing used to take place here all the time. Other weekend, the park is used for local football teams. The park is used also for local events such as fairs. The flood scheme at this location consists of earth embankment, so we could easily embed seated terraces for spectators to enjoy these events. The Active Travel Wales Act in Welsh law makes it easier for people to walk and cycle in Wales. As mentioned previously, the cycleway now runs through the whole park. This is an Active Wales cycleway. We also extended our improvements to the cycleway over Lynn Road Bridge because this section was particularly tricky with large lorries turning at the T-junction. We also felt it was important as Natural Resources Wales to prevent pollution reaching the River Usk, since it's a designated river. So we removed improper outfalls, consolidated many, and constructed new formal outfalls. We also installed new oil interceptors to each of the businesses along the scheme alignment, which backed onto the Pill. We added security fencing to the top of defence to protect businesses from theft. It had been known in high tides for people to come up in boats, gain access into the yard and steal their items and sail away. And in certain areas, fly tipping was very common, and it wasn't just shopping trolleys that were chucked into the river. So with this fence in place, it's much harder for any rubbish to be thrown into the river. The top image here shows rubble found in a trench, which was dug before the sheet piles were installed. The rubble was crushed, then it was used to form a foundation pad for the piling machines to sit on, the top right photo. To create the earth embankment, we reused material from the Welsh Government infrastructure project M4 Junction 28, a few miles down the road. You'll see that on the bottom photos. Our scheme also used some concrete legato blocks as a temporary flood defence during construction. These are now being reused in NRW forestry estates. We have made the area safer by the demolition of 7 unsafe buildings. We have removed dead-end areas under a flyover. We've improved lighting in dark, vulnerable areas. We have removed drug dealers and users out of the area by fencing off dark, secluded areas and knocking down the derelict buildings. We've also regularly picked up needles in the area. Security fencing on top of the defence is to protect the businesses and stop fly tipping. And we've installed new railings around the children's park, which is next to the river. I've only time this morning to highlight a few of the benefits. Others include moving fly tipping waste from site, upgrading disabled access to St John's Training Centre, providing gloves and wood chippings to the allotment owners, and repainting the hazard lines outside the school. The examples here shown this morning demonstrate that a wide range of benefits contributing to the multiple wellbeing goals can be delivered through a flood scheme project. I would like to mention and thank JBA Consultant, who are based in Newport, our designers, and Galliford Try, Griffiths and Walters, our contractors, for delivering the scheme. It's been a 7-year journey with many, many challenges. That's a presentation in itself, but I'm very proud of our perseverance to deliver a much needed scheme for the local community of Newport. We have made a start towards making Wales all that we want to live in now and in the future. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Melissa. That was great. It was great to hear an example highlighting multiple benefits that can be delivered through a flood management scheme if thought out, and kind of delivering that integrated thinking that Robin mentioned in his presentation. And we've just got a minute or so, so I'm going to ask you a question that has come in for you, I think, from Gary, who said, can you explain or clarify how, if at all, you are working with other authorities, individuals and groups to ensure a cohesive approach, maximise benefit and minimise cost?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, of course. So just a question to ask, if you could explain how you're working with other authorities and groups to ensure delivery of the scheme is done in a way that's cohesive to maximise benefit and minimise costs. So how are you collaborating with other groups to deliver the scheme?
Yeah, I think, well, the biggest partner really was the Newport City Council, and where I would say that they couldn't contribute with the cost, but they did in many other ways, and also it was linked to sort of ongoing maintenance afterwards and agreeing who was going to cut which grass, etc. I think with the community, because it's such a deprived area and it's quite different than Robin's experience, what I found the best solution really was getting to know the community, getting myself in there, getting visible, spending time there, getting to know the key people there, and talking to people on the ground. That's what they liked, that community. So again, they didn't have much to offer, but as in financially, but they were keen to, especially the allotment people were keen to liaise with us. And again, when our contractors came on board, they were able to provide gloves and other soils and recycled wood, etc. So I think the difference is perhaps in Wales that it is funded by Welsh Government, the scheme itself, but we're looking for sort of working with people in different ways and what they can contribute.
That's great, thank you very much. I hope that answered the question.